Hi, everybody. It's Ricky Heller from rickyheller.com here today. And today I'm here to talk about my 10-day detox, which today I'm on day 7. I actually did a whole video about this a couple days ago, and because of my spotty internet, what was originally 16 minutes ended up being 12, and my voice kept cutting out like that, and you couldn't make out what I was saying. So I'm going to try again. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for good internet. So today I want to talk about my experience with the 10-day Metagenics detox, which is a liver kidney support kind of detox program that my naturopath has me on. And this is what the product looks like. And I have nothing to do with Metagenics, just so you know. But so this is what I've been doing. Like I said, I'm on day 7 today. And the way the program works is it sort of incrementally removes foods from your diet as you increase this powder. It sort of mixes up like a protein powder shake. And then you reach a plateau where you have 3 days where all you can eat are cruciferous vegetables, green leafy vegetables, raw, and 4 servings of that shake. And, you know, I've read online people saying that it tastes horrible. You know what? It's very neutral. I didn't find it unpleasant. I just didn't find it particularly exciting. So it's really not bad to drink 4 times a day. And then you stay on that for 3 days. And then after those 3 days are up, you slowly reintroduce foods each day. So today, for instance, I was able to have sweet potatoes again. Yay! I was very excited about that. So I want to talk a little bit about detoxing in general and why I'm doing this detox. Because, you know, if you speak to a conventional, aka allopathic doctor, they're going to say, don't waste your time with those kinds of things. Colonics, saunas, detox programs, fasting, juices, all those things. They're going to tell you in polite terms, they'll probably tell you they disagree with the whole process, because they'll say, you know, your organs of detoxification, liver, kidneys, lungs, skin, these are made to detox the body, and in a healthy body, detoxification happens all the time. So why would you need some exterior resource to help your body detox? However, to that I say, bah humbug, because in 2015, when this video is being recorded for future generations, in 2015, you know, we live in a very different world from, say, the world my dad, who is 94, was born into. And I remember when I was studying at CSNN to become a holistic nutritionist, and I was talking to my dad about all the organic, you know, the theory of organic and all the organic food I was discovering and how it tastes so much better and all those kinds of things. He said to me, well, you know, where I grew up, everything was organic, because he grew up on a farm. They didn't have pesticides. They didn't have industrialized farming. So in a way, he grew up in a world that was far less toxic than the one we live in now, no matter how careful we are. You know, when I was a kid, my dad would have Mondays off from work. He worked on Saturdays, so he took Mondays off. And on Mondays, he would help my mom clean the house. So really, the guy needs a hobby, right? But he would help my mom clean the house on his day off. And I remember he would use vinegar in a spray bottle on the windows with newspaper, just old newspapers, and wipe the windows clean. And I was marveling at how much better that job was and how much cleaner the windows were than when we used that blue spray liquid that shall remain nameless. But, you know, vinegar is a natural product. The blue liquid, and I'm not picking on blue liquid, but the kinds of products we use today are chemicals. These are toxins. So we are surrounded by toxins all the time in our food, pesticides, in our water. You know, there was just a report that came out about how horrible the Toronto area tap water is, and they found all kinds of residues of chemicals and medications and illegal drugs and all kinds of things in our water supply. They find drugs and toxins in the cord blood of babies now. So it's around us. In your house, your sofa is treated to be anti-inflammatory. You've got toxins coming in from pollution outside. We're basically surrounded by it. So the body was not designed to clear that volume of toxins, in my opinion. So for me, that's why a detox and regular detox makes a lot of sense to me, because our organs of detoxification are most likely overloaded by the toxic load that surrounds us all the time and that we're taking in all the time. And even if you eat organic, and even if you have an air filter and all those things, you may have accumulated toxins in your body. Okay, so the theory for me, that's why I'd like to detox. But even more so in my case, for those of you who've been following me know that I've been on an anti-Candida diet for, oh, it feels like a lifetime, but I would say on and off for about 15 years, and this last 6 years very seriously on an anti-Candida diet. And what happened was, although I got way better, I would say 95% of my symptoms have disappeared, I do have some lingering symptoms that not only won't go away, but do flare up sometimes if I am a little bit less stringent with what I'm eating. So, and I'm still on the diet. So for me, less stringent means like I have 4 ACD-friendly brownies instead of 1 ACD-friendly brownie. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so for a lot of people who are following the program religiously and have been doing so for a long time and still not getting better, one of the theories says that there's some underlying condition that has not been detected. And in my case, some of the things that are often considered are things like Lyme disease. We've ruled that out in my case, although I haven't been tested, but my naturopath has really said that she feels it's a very small possibility for me because I don't have most of the symptoms. Sometimes it's hidden parasitic infections, which is a possibility. Sometimes it's heavy metals. And when I was tested in 2009, my cadmium levels were apparently off the charts, which are connected to pesticides. So farmers often have high cadmium. In my case, I'm pretty sure I know where it came from. I spent 7 years living in a basement apartment in my 30s. And I'm not a big fan of bugs, and it was pretty much overrun with spiders because it was a basement in a humid and moist area, Toronto area. So in those days, I didn't know any better, and I used Raid spray probably every day. And I'll never forget, I had this beautiful decorative bowl in my kitchen, and one day I went to get the bowl to clean the shelf, and there was a spider the size of my hand in that bowl, and I'm not exaggerating, the size of my hand. Yeah. And I freaked out, and I started spraying Raid into that bowl, and by the end it was doing the breaststroke in the puddle of Raid. And of course I always tried to open the windows and run out of the house or whatever, but I'm sure I inhaled it many times. So I'm pretty sure that heavy metals is a factor for me. So what this detox is trying to do, it was kind of an experiment to see if my symptoms would be alleviated by doing this detox over time. So, okay, what has happened to me during this detox? Well, interestingly, the bonus, I'll talk about the good stuff first, the bonus was the fact that I'm already on a very clean plant-based diet. So that did make that whole transition so much easier, because day 1 of the detox, you cut out all animal flesh. Done. That's the way I eat. Day 2 of the detox, you cut out all dairy. Okay, sounds good. No change to my diet. Day 3 of the detox, you cut out grains that have gluten in them. Yay! Day 3 is not even like a detox because it's still exactly my normal diet. The only difference between my diet and from day 1 was that I had to cut out matcha tea. I thought I was going to fall asleep at the computer without my matcha tea. I did miss my matcha tea a lot because I drink matcha tea every single day. But other than that, the first 3 days were pretty much my regular diet. On day 4, you cut out all nuts and seeds, which I certainly felt because in fact, it made me realize that I'm probably eating nut butter a little too often. And then on day 5, we cut out legumes. So that was a bit tough, just vegetables. And then 5, 6, and 7, all you could have, as I said, were cruciferous vegetables and green leafies. So I did start to notice a difference on the first day of the intensified powder 4 times a day and the green leafies and the cruciferous vegetables, because most people will experience what they call die-off or Herxheimer reaction, which is a reaction to your body of having all these toxins now flooding the system. Because normally your toxins are stored in your fat cells, and so I've got a lot of storage on me, and when they start being released because your liver is functioning more effectively, and if, let's say, it's Candida and it's dying, it's going to give off more toxins. What happens is there may be too many toxins in the system for your detox organs to actually process them effectively. And what ends up happening is you feel worse before you feel better. And that's called die-off or Herxheimer reaction. So, of course, I didn't really have that the first few days because my diet didn't change at all. But when I got to the really, really stripped down, clean days, I noticed a couple of things happen. There were physical reactions, and there were mental / psychological reactions. So first off, I did have a bit of an intensification of my Candida response, my Candida symptoms, which I normally are under check, and I don't really experience. So my thing was a rash when Candida was really bad for me. I had a really horrible rash on my chest, and I mean really horrible. Like it went from here to here, and then eventually it disappeared, and now it's just sometimes a very light pink. I can notice a very light pink skin there. Well, that kind of acted up, and I was really itchy for the whole day. And then I also noticed that I had horrible sinus issues for a couple of days, like really bad sinus headaches. And so I was really afraid I was going to end up with a sinus infection, because that's how my whole Candida journey, if you want to call it, began. I was diagnosed with Candida after having had 4 sinus infections in the space of 3 days. Sorry, 3 months, not 3 days. That would be really bad. So the space of 3 months. And so I've done everything I can since then to avoid having to take antibiotics and having sinus infections. So what I did for that was intensive nasal sinus irrigation, which you can use a neti pot. I use a baby's ear syringe, which is a bit smaller and gentler on the nose, I find. And I can put some links down below this video to tell you about what nasal irrigation is all about if you're not familiar with it. I did that 4 times a day. I did steam inhalation, where you boil a pot of water and put a towel over your head and just breathe in the steam. And I put a couple of drops, about 4 drops of essential oils in there as well, eucalyptus oil, and just inhaled the steam to help with the sinus issues. I also used euphorbium, which is a homeopathic sinus remedy. And I also used colloidal silver spray a couple times a day, because that kills bacteria to prevent any kind of infection from starting. So I did that intensively for 1 full day, basically didn't leave the house for the whole day, and just doing nasal things. And by the next day, the sinus issues were gone. So that was okay. And then the other symptoms of die-off that kind of surprised me, because I guess I wasn't really aware of it until the next day, were the psychological / mental symptoms. And basically, I was just really moody and in a bad mood all day. And I didn't realize this till the next day when I was brushing my teeth, and I realized I was smiling while I was brushing my teeth. I was sort of back to myself. So, you know, that's something that also is really important with, can be connected to Candida, because someone like me, who is generally a sort of a type A anxious kind of person, Candida can be prolonged because of that too. And, you know, even now I can feel I'm speaking kind of quickly. I'm just going to pause and take a deep breath. There. Wow, that's so much better. I feel so much calmer now. I'm going to speak slowly for the rest of this video. No, I'm not. Just kidding. Anyway, but that's something that gets exacerbated when you're going through die-off too. So if you're normally stressed and anxious, you may be more stressed and anxious when you're having your die-off. So for most people, die-off only lasts 2 days to a maximum of a week for the most part, and then you're free and clear. For me, it was just the 1 day, and I think that that's because of my bonus of having been on a plant-based diet for so long before I started, so that the first few days weren't really that different for me. So now I'm on day 8, and really there are only 2 days left, and I've already started reintroducing foods. Do I think it was worthwhile? Well, it's not finished yet, but certainly by this point, I've already felt the benefits, because I do generally have sinus issues, I have allergies, and I have noticed that my nasal passages are much clearer. But for me, it was the day after all that moodiness that I really felt as if my thinking was much clearer. I feel sharper, if that makes sense. And certainly at my age, that's always a bonus. So my thought patterns are much clearer. And I also hadn't realized that I was starting to get a little bit of foggy brain again before that. So we'll see how it goes for the next 2 days, but I just wanted to check in and tell people what you can expect if you're going to be doing this. Certainly if you start at the beginning and you're coming into a detox like this with what they call the standard American diet, where you're eating a lot of meat and processed foods and probably sugar and coffee and alcohol, you know, those are things that I haven't eaten for many years. So you could expect a little bit more die-off symptoms, I would think. But I would also think you might have even more obvious benefits when it's over, because there's going to be more to clear. So I definitely think it's worthwhile. And I've sort of decided that for me, detoxification is going to be number one. So I'm dying to know if any of you guys have done either this cleanse or any other kind of cleanse. Please let me know. Leave comments below. Tell me what you've done. Tell me how it's worked out for you. Also, I want to be the guinea pig this year. I am going to try every kind of detox I can to see if this makes a difference. And finally, once and for all, for the rest of my life, clears away these Candida symptoms 100%. So I want to know what kind of detox programs you've either done or read about or are curious about. And I'm going to be doing periodic videos about whichever thing I'm trying at that time. And I'll let you know how it goes. There are so many different kinds of detoxification you can do physically with your food. There's fast, there's all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to be writing a little bit more about that on my blog, rickyheller.com, and also certainly coming and doing videos about them too. So I hope this was useful for you. I hope you found some good information here. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, two thumbs up, and tell your friends. If you know someone who would benefit from this information, please share the video with them too. All right, great. I'll report back. And again, I'd love to know what kinds of things you're doing or what kinds of detox programs you'd be interested in hearing about in future videos. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, today, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.